5.3b, we are going to continuing to solve trig functions. So 5 with trig identities as a guide. So let's say we had a tangent squared of x minus 1 equals 0, and we want to solve for x. And this time we're going to put it in a interval. Let's say we want it in radians. So let's say from 0 to 2 pi radians here. Well, let's think about this first. Let's solve for x. We can do add 1 to both sides. So we get tangent squared of x equals 1. We can square root both sides. Square root. Tangent of x must then equal 1. And if we draw a picture, the tangent is positive in the first and third quadrant, and it's 1 over 1. Then we have a 45, 45, 90 going on. So this is a pi over 4, or in the third quadrant, it is a 5 pi over 4. So those are my two answers. Let's do another example. Let's say we had 2 sine squared of x equals 2 plus cosine of x, and we want to solve for x. Well, let's move everything to one side, at least the sine and cosine, or we can use our trig identities and we can change the sine squared of x to cosine squared of x. So I know 2 sine squared of x could be 1 minus cosine squared of x is sine squared of x equals 2 plus cosine of x. This way, I'm dealing with cosine of x. It's easier. So distribute this 2. We got 2 minus 2 cosine squared of x equals 2 plus cosine of x. Now I'm going to move everything to the left. If I subtract 2 to both sides, this gives me negative 2 cosine squared of x equals cosine of x. I can divide now both sides by cosine of x. I am left with negative 2 cosine of x must equal 1. Now divide both sides by negative 2. So cosine of x should equal negative 1/2. Okay, so let's think about this logically. If cosine of x is negative 1/2, if I draw my picture, it's either going to be in the second quadrant or the third quadrant, because my cosine is negative, where our x has to be negative. So this is here and here. So these are my two answers, and my thetas will be here and here. I get negative 1, and the opposite has to be, the hypotenuse has to be 2. If I have negative 1 and 2, I'm dealing with a 30, 60, 90. Then this has to be, so if this has to be 30, then I am dealing with a 60 degree, or in our case, our answer is going to be pi over 3. Well, not pi over 3, but pi over 3. So it makes it 2 pi over 3, which is here, which is the first one, 2 pi over 3. And the next one is, I want 4 pi over 3, because we have 1 minus pi over 3 and 1 minus 2 pi over 3, and those would be my answers.